technical manager for Hunters Point, Miss Danielle Johnson. Danielle, just give a wave.
Derrick Robinson is his name.
I hope everybody has the handout that was on your seat. I'm going to refer to it just real quickly. If you look at the handout and you go to the map, which is the 3rd page, we're starting at the green star, and we're going to work our way along the black arrows. You'll see that there's 6 stops today. They're all denoted by yellow stars, and those yellow stars are numbered with a name next to them. That name corresponds to the first 2 pages of text, which has a lot of information. I'm not going to be talking on most of this information. I'm going to be giving you other information in addition to this, but you can read it today, you can read it afterwards. So that's for you to keep. Let's see here. We have regulatory agency members that are on our Hunters Point team that are here today as well. If you could raise your hand. If you have any questions for them, you can ask during the tour if you don't ask me. So we have Lily Lee in the middle there. We have Jackie Lane a little bit closer to the front, and then we have Nina Basie at the back. The first 2 are from EPA. The last one's from the Department of Toxic Substances and Control. Let's see. 1-hour tour. We've got 6 stops. It's really a general discussion of the environmental program here at Hunters Point. So I have some, if you're interested, I have some status of the scanning that's going on up at Parcel A where they're building buildings, and I have some redevelopment information as well, but that's really not my responsibility. That's the responsibility of others, so I just have a little bit of information on that, on those types of activities.
Bless you.
Tetra Tech radiological issues. Who's aware of those? Everybody aware of those? Raise your hand. Yeah. It's very fortunate whenever something like this happens, and it doesn't happen very often. It's been something that we've been dealing with the last 2 years. It's frustrating to me. I know it's frustrating to a lot of people in the community. And really, the big thing is that it's holding up what we're trying to do here, and that is, and my responsibility is to get the base cleaned up so we can give it back into reuse. I don't know how many of you have been to San Diego, but I work very close to one of the old bases that was closed. It's Liberty Station, and it was closed. It was transferred to the city maybe 12 years ago. It's now been completely revitalized. There's housing. There's incredible parks. The old Navy buildings they have indoor markets and restaurants, and it's an anchor to that part of San Diego. It's an amazing asset, and that's what Hunters Point can be. And I really hope that people see the potential out here, because that's what we're trying to do. That's our job, is to get this space back into reuse, and I think it's going to be an amazing asset to this community once it's done. And so I hope you all see that. I think it's something that you want, that we both want. So, all right, let's get started, and I'll be talking throughout the tour. Thanks again.
Thank you. Are you with EPA? Yeah. Okay. Do you have a business card? Mm-hmm. Do you have a business card? Yeah. Now, even on the weekend, you're supposed to have a business card. Oh, excellent. Thank you. Jackie, I'm Nicole. I'm going to call you. Okay. Oh, you got another one? Bam. So you came. That's what's up, Jack. We appreciate you. All right. Jacqueline Lane with EPA. We need her.
Originally purchased by the Navy in 1939, Hunters Point wasn't taken over. At the time, it was a ship maintenance facility. It wasn't taken over until after we were attacked in Pearl Harbor in 1942. I think it was taken over in 1943. And that's when it started to become a huge part of the naval history of the San Francisco area. Well, what you'll see, there's a lot of old buildings here, and what you're seeing, these old buildings, majority of them were used for maintenance of ships, submarines, aircraft carriers, and battleships.
Where's my paper at?
Hunters Point was also the location of the first dry dock on the west coast of Pacific West Coast of the United States. This dry dock was built in 1869, 1868 time frame. And part of the reason why this area was a shipbuilding area, it was a dry dock area, is that immediately offshore, the water in the bay gets deep really, really quickly. So it makes it advantageous for things like large ships and working on boats. To our left, you can see the old submarine dry docks. So those three large piers were actually areas where they worked on submarines.
There's a question, what?
Are those artist buildings we're talking about?
Yeah, we did, as we just got to the bottom of the hill, we did pass the artist buildings.
I'll get what I can get. Okay. I'm gonna answer all these buildings labeled. I have a question up here. Are all these buildings labeled by the numbers?
Yeah, most of the buildings are numbered.
Okay, that's what we want to see.
The numbers that are on there are the ones that we still use today.
Thank you.
Where's your number? Where your number at? Go on. Tam been doing homework, y'all. Quit playing. That question is intentional, y'all.
Can we start asking questions?
Okay, so you'll notice as we are driving down, almost the entire base is covered in asphalt. As part of our remedial work, what we've done and what they have in place is a durable cover. And that durable cover takes three different forms. One is 6 inches of asphalt and base course, so crushed rock asphalt, and that's what we're on currently right now. Another form is 2 feet of soil, and that soil is going to be planted with native vegetation generally. And the last one is part of the reason we're stopping here is along the shoreline. We've fortified it with these large boulders, or riprap. They call it riprap. So that durable cover is across the entire base, and it's kind of an extra measure to protect people from coming into soil in the future. One of the things that is part of the Hunters Point area, the geology, is that the local rocks and dirt have a lot of asbestos in them and heavy metals. And so they're naturally occurring, but they are higher levels than what people want. And so we put this durable cover in place. This durable cover will stay here until the city or whoever redevelopment authority takes over the property, and then they'll have to maintain the durable cover into the future. And typically what they're doing is they're breaking it up and they're putting soil on top of it, and then they're building above that. So that's.
Does the asbestos soil that you're referencing, doesn't it also go up into Marin County and just a really general Bay Area have it?
Yes, absolutely. It's a naturally occurring phenomena that occurs in a lot of the rocks. So a big part of the hillside is gone here, and they busted it up and they brought it down and filled in this area down below, and those rocks had naturally occurring asbestos. So yeah, it is naturally occurring. You find it throughout the Bay Area. Any questions?
So, as far as the cover itself, is it doing anything else? Like, I mean, if you clean up the soil, a lot of times what you hear is like, clean up the soil. Why do you need the cover if you really cleaned it up?
Yes.
Why cap it if it's clean? It's basically what people.
So the question is, why cap the soil if it's clean? And that's, that was a decision that was made in the past just to be extra cautious. It's absolutely not needed. There are many areas where the soil is not capped. But it does serve there's always a chance that maybe, there's something could have been left behind. So it serves that purpose as well.
What the work left here to do in terms of cleanup?
Yeah.
Parcel B1, B2.
Yeah, so the question was in parcel B1 and B2, which you can see on your map are green and light brown. What work is remaining? Parcel B1, we do have the building right over there that still has a some soil cleanup work that needs to happen. It's called IR10. Otherwise, the majority of this area is ready. We just have to go back and relook at radiological work that was completed by Tetra Tech. So that's something we have to do. Once that's done, a majority of those 2 parcels can be transferred.
With this information that you are giving us today, how do you inform the people of Hunters Point, which is mainly African American back here? How are you informing the neighborhood and the people living in area, what is that, Supervisor 10? How are you informing the people there, including myself, if I didn't take this tour?
Yeah. So the question is, how are we making sure that the community is informed? We do a lot of different things. I'm out here at least once per month myself. In addition to that, we have different events that we attend, try to get that information out at events that are already happening. So there's a fair coming up in a couple days. There's artist building stuff, or artist studio activities that we attend. We also send out an emails regularly. If you'd like to get on that list, please let us know. We'll get you on that list. You can get our emails. Several of our meetings that we have throughout the year are advertised to a random selection of the local communities, around 15,000 out of the 45,000 homes that are out there. So in the Bayview and Hunters Point area. So we do a lot. We try to do as much as we can to get that information out.
Do you guys do any mailings, like mailing to the addresses versus email? A lot of people don't use email.
Yeah, the question is, do we do mailings? Yeah, the 15,000 that I was talking about is a mailing. So it's a postcard. So it goes to, it's basically a third of the people in Hunters Point.
How do you choose those people? Is that random?
No, it's not.
Sorry.
The question is, how do we choose the people on the mailing? And there's 100% of the people within a quarter-mile radius. And then we also hit the random additional approximately 10,000 people from the 3 zip codes.
Okay. And that's just randomly chosen?
It is, and then you can also sign up. We also have a standard mailing list. If you want to be on that list, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
if you want to be on the standard mailing list, we can do that too.
How do you get connected? Is it an email that you reach out to, or is there mailing or because?
So you can, on our website, you can sign up. Absolutely, you can give your email to Liz or myself. We're happy to get you on that list.
Okay,
and we'll take both.
Okay. And are you guys willing to come out to the community and talk?
Yeah, absolutely. We're out in the community all the time.
You said every month. Where
It depends. And actually, we have a full schedule that we prepare at the beginning of each year that has all of our events throughout the year.
Okay. So, and that's on your site.
That's on our website. And if you want the card, Mr. Bryant here is also our community liaison.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Bryant.
He's someone who's stationed in the community, and you can talk to him if you don't want to talk to me. And easy to get a hold of.
We can talk to you.
He's really great.
We only been at this 10 minutes. We ain't not friends yet. Yet. We got Mr. Brown too.
Make sure I have your mail address.
We got it.
You might have put it on.
2 years now, 2 and change.
Oh, maybe not.
And I was notified of it, even though I'm a digital girl, by a mail postcard from the Navy, and I'm in 94134 Visitation Valley, so mail does work.
Okay, great. Good to have you. It's Paris.
And I got your card. Can I just put that so I can screenshot it online? Can you see the light? There we go. Okay.
So that'll all right here.
We're gonna see these one more time, but as we're driving by the dry dock to the left, I'd like to point out
Thank you.
the buildings that are brick, the 2 brick buildings. Those are both buildings that are identified by the United States Navy as historical buildings, and they're the historic pump houses for these 2 dry docks. And what a pump house is it has a large motor assembly at ground level, and then a shaft that goes down into the earth and is connected by 2 other shafts, one to the dry dock and one to the bay. So they'll turn that pump on and pump water from the bay into the dry dock when they want to fill it, and they'll pump water out of the dry dock into the bay when they want to empty the dry dock.
make sure y'all get connected. Go to those links that you see. I'm showing you this information for a reason. Make sure you do the work yourself.
Yeah, another question that just came up, or what are these large steel
231.
items? These are called caissons. Excuse me, they're called cofferdams. I get that word wrong every time, and I've been doing this a long time. That's pretty bad. So what they are is they're kind of a cork at the end of the bottle. So they take that cofferdam, they pump water out of it, and it floats. They then drag it to the front of the dry dock, pump water back into it, and it sinks down and it seals the end of the dry dock. So that allows them to pump the water out of the dry dock and set up the keel blocks or caissons.
This is what, team? One of the contaminated buildings.
In a
That is
specific
one of the
pattern
contaminated
for the
areas,
ship
10.
that's actually going to be worked on. And that pattern, they set those all up on the ground. It's very, very specific, very precise where they put them. They pull the ship in, get the ship in the right location, and then pump the water out, and the keel blocks will support that ship in dry dock, keep it from tipping over.
Building 211. That's the one that can't tear down. Building 225. All of these are there. 225. It's 225 here. This is a very big one. These are supposed to be contaminated, y'all. 226. 228.
All right, so right here we're stopping so we can take a look at Parcel F. Parcel F is the Navy's underwater property that's still under our ownership, and it's also our last cleanup site that we're working on. So we've been doing various tests across the entire shoreline area for about the past 20 years. We recently took all that data, put it together, and developed our cleanup plan. So that's what we're going to do to address contamination that's left on the site. We put that cleanup plan together, was out for public review in what's called a proposed plan, did a public meeting in April. So right now we collected all the public comments on that and we incorporated it into our decision document. So that decision document determines what the cleanup is going to be in the future. So all of those responses to what we received from the community are in that document. It's currently out for review by regulators right now. And we're hoping to get that record of decision finalized by the end of the year, and that will allow us to move forward with the cleanup and move on to the next phase, which is to design it and actually start the work.
With the history of this right here, of this dry dock right here, I did extensive research on this history. How was it able to clean up all the toxins from the shipbuilding and everything that went on with this particular area right here?
Yes, so what we did with all the testing throughout the past 20 years, we collected samples throughout the entire shoreline. And what we found is even though there were activities in this dry dock, there wasn't any contamination that required cleanup over here. So the areas where we're doing cleanup activities, it's a combination of some dredging and some capping. It's over near where the brick building that Derrick pointed out earlier, and then also off the shoreline of Parcel E2, which is the landfill that we'll see later.
How do you explain the fact that you don't need to clean up if there was that much activity? How do you explain the fact that those toxins aren't there?
So we rely on the data that we collect, and another thing about this property is that it's mostly net depositional, which means that sediment is generally brought from the bay onto the site. So there may be contaminants that are left in place, but they're already buried. So there's no access between humans or ecological resources to the contamination. So we will have to maintain the property and make sure that that continues to happen. So there is going to be a long-term monitoring plan to make sure that any contamination that may be buried continues to be buried.
So another question I have is how did you guys get the word out about the meetings you had in April and the 60 days? Because I stumbled across that accidentally and it was already closed. You guys, the comments were only made, and I don't feel that, and I live in 94124. I don't feel that the information, that I'm one of the 15,000 people who may have got that information.
So we did a couple of things. We put an ad in the newspaper, so I believe the Chronicle and the Examiner.
Okay.
We also did our typical mailing list and our website. We announced it on our website, and so that's how we pass the information around through our normal channels. So if you're not getting the information, I encourage you to get on our email chain and get your address added to our list. And
Yeah, that happened for me, but there are lots of people who don't have internet access or are not linked to emails. We have seniors who, how can you get the word out to the older population or maybe disabled population?
So that's mostly why we send out the mailing list, and we also put the ads in the paper.
I know you mentioned that the Naval still owns this part of the land over here. Now, which part of this land does Lennar own so far? Do you know that information?
Yeah, so the Navy owns everything on this map,
Okay.
basically.
Thank you.
There are a couple of parcels on here, just this small sliver that's in purple, and then this small sliver that's in green. That's not under Navy ownership at the moment.
Is that by G?
Yes, it's just north
All of G? Oh,
No,
It's not
G is
necessarily
still-
Lennar. It's the city, correct? It's not. Those areas aren't necessarily owned by Lennar, the
Yes,
company.
Amy is telling me it's owned by OCII.
Okay, thank you.
And I have one more question. You mentioned Amy. Does Amy still work for you guys? Amy Bronwell?
This is Amy.
Oh, Amy's on the bus.
Thank you for introducing me.
Hey, Amy.
Hi, my name is Amy Brownell. I'm with the Health Department of San Francisco.
Yes.
We have one other member here. Tomas, you want to raise? Dr. Aragon is the medical director of the Health Department in San Francisco. He's also on the bus. You may ask him any questions you want. I've worked on the project for 25 years. I'm an environmental engineer. I was just going to add, as far as the mailing list and things, those are great questions. Thank you for asking them. The Hunters Point Shipyard Citizens Advisory Committee also stays involved and gets informed. The Navy just did a presentation on the 27th of August there. They have meetings, multiple meetings every month. You can get on their mailing list because whenever the Navy comes to present at their Environment and Reuse Subcommittee, they will advertise that also. And they've been active since 1991. And so they've been doing a lot of work on that shipyard. Thanks.
Hi, I'm James Bryant. I want to make sure that anyone from the community who has suggestions of places that should be covered, please feel free to get my card, and I'll be happy to coordinate that with you, and the senior locations as well, because that's how we could probably best educate as many folks as possible.
Okay.
And we do also send out mailings to community groups, to like senior center, those sort of things. So they get the flyers, and hopefully they are posting those.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Back to Mr. James' information. Okay.
Yeah, just a quick question about, you said you monitoring for 20 years the water. Is the fishing ban not
Oh.
here?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, can you repeat his question for us? It got really loud. Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Sorry.
271. It's called the Paint Shop. This is building 272.